I sent the songs for Kendrick to Anthony.
I hope he do it. He don't take no money, do he? Why you don't want to do no feature? You really got Lil Dirt calling you for a song. Lil Baby, Dogg, real superstar calling you for a song. Why wouldn't you do the song? We lit, nigga. We going #1 too. That's why them will never be bigger than Drake ever in life.
Hello, breeds and gentlegrams. As I was making this video, new jail calls emerged where Young Thug was crapping on Kendrick Lamar. These jail calls happened a year before Drake and Kendrick's beef, but ironically, Young Thug is saying stuff like, Kendrick Lamar will never make it onto Drake's level. Now, I'm bringing this up because, like I said, this news came out as I was recording this video, so in the intro, you won't hear me mention that we're going to be breaking down how Young Thug went off on Kendrick Lamar, but it ties into the bigger picture in that Young Thug for years has been snaking people, lying, talking behind people's backs, plotting to backstab, manipulating the industry through bots, and a lot more, and it's all coming back to bite him in the butt at this point in 2025. But the signs have been there all along, and that's what we're gonna break down in this video, along with him dissing Kendrick Lamar. I think that's the funniest part of this entire thing. So sit back, relax, enjoy, like, subscribe. I love you all.
I study
Bite him in the butt
for a living.
Lawbreeze and YSLograms held dwelled on YSL when only time would tell if Thug would prevail from real time in jail. Would the jurors fail to find him guilty? Gladly for Thug fans, he's now a free man, but the aftermath is filthy.
I study
Filthy.
for a living.
Rat rumors and conceiving consumers buying bots to make songs hot. Thug has stirred pots and unintentionally peeled the curtains back behind the industry's darkest secrets through jail phone calls, and because the internet leaked it, we will debrief it and peek what's beneath the secrets Young Thug couldn't keep. But first, keep those like and subscribe buttons stomped on like feet. Now, Lawbreeze and Gentlegrams, if you guys have been around the channel long enough, you know that this video won't be about who's a rat, who snitched on who's really street, who's really not. Because if you were looking at me, little old white Canadian rapaholics, to be your source of credibility on these type of issues, you'd be better off asking Drake to write his own bars.
I study
Little old white Canadian rapaholics.
for a living.
Just like La Brianna in that domain, Rapaholics has zero experience in street politics, alright? But maybe you guys can answer this for me. We'll dive into the backstory of what really happened between Young Thug and Gunna, but essentially, Young Thug doesn't like Gunna because he believes he snitched to get out of the RICO trial that the entire YSL collective was facing. But Young Thug signed Gunna in the middle of the 2010s decade, 5 years after he made an appearance on Crime Stoppers. So answer this for me, if Young Thug was really against rats, wouldn't he have not signed Gunna to begin with after this clip?
It's a murder case. No one wants to go down for it. That's why it's come back to that street word, snitch. No one's want to be labeled as a snitch. I don't want to tell on him because somebody might try to come kill me or someone in my family.
And not that I care if Gunna is a rat or he's not a rat, but he did try to clarify years later, saying that he wasn't snitching on anybody in that Crime Stoppers clip. He was just emphasizing that his cousin, who was accused of the crime, didn't actually commit it.
Oh, the Crime Stopper, well, I ain't know stop a crime.
So that's not even you on that video?
Yes, that's me, but that wasn't on no Crime Stopper. I don't know what the hell nigga thinking about, because I wasn't in no case or nothing. So nigga even like just saying like, oh, you snitched on who? I was never in no case. I really from the street. Where I'm from, like, if you snitch, bro, this shit is in paperwork. This shit is a document. My cousin went to jail. A little girl got killed. My cousin went to jail for another went to court and said my cousin did it, but my cousin didn't do it.
And regardless of who's the rat, who's the cat in the hat, who's the slime in the slat, the situation we're in right now has Atlanta in turmoil. We've seen former snitching superstars like Tekashi 6ix9ine make a comeback, ranting and raving about this entire situation, beefing with Top 5 on Instagram Live, of course facilitated by DJ Akademiks.
I study
DJ Akademiks
for a living.
Young Thug is on alleged jail call recordings talking crap about every Atlanta rapper from Gucci Mane, Gunna, the Migos, his producer Weezy. A police interrogation video of him talking about the rapper Weezy also leaked onto the internet, and it's absolutely insane as an artist who has very rarely ever did interviews throughout his entire career. He has now exposed more industry secrets, arguably, than any rapper ever before in history, all through jail calls and police interrogations. So we're gonna break it all down. But in order to understand how he got to the point where Young Thug is crapping on all of his peers within Atlanta, some who brought him in the game, some who he brought in the game, and as for why it's significant for you, if you've been a fan of hip-hop over the last 10 years, then we really gotta take it back to the beginning to understand the significance of why this could really make or break Young Thug's career.
You heard I was gay. You going crazy.
See, Young Thug is arguably one of the most influential rappers of the past 10 years. And it's hard to believe nowadays with all that he's accomplished, but when he first came in the game, it was kind of hard to take him seriously. Scratch that, it was very hard to take him seriously, for several reasons. So Thug starts gaining a buzz in Atlanta in around 2011, when Lil Wayne is the hottest rapper in the world.
Cause it's just, ooh, Lil Wayne's just too good. Ooh, Lil Wayne's just too good.
Young Thug sounds like a carbon copy of Lil Wayne. From the hooks, to the voice, to the flow. Play an important role very shortly in the story, but even back then in 2011 when he was first starting off his career, Thug made the prediction that he was going to be working with Lil Wayne and his record label Young Money.
What's next for Young Thug? Who should we look forward to you working with, do music, any mixtapes when it come out? What can we expect in 2011?
Wayne, Young Money. I'm working with them.
You are right now?
No.
Are you going to? You're going to.
Yeah, Young Money. I'm coming.
Fast forward a couple years later, and Young Thug gets very close to making that dream true. He develops his own sound over the years. He doesn't sound like as much of a Wayne clone as he did early on. So by 2014, he's got some massive hits taking over the game. Songs like Stoner, Danny Glover. And yeah, he still sounds like Weezy, he still sounds like Future, but he's taking this innovative approach. And because of that, he catches the attention of Birdman, the founder of Cash Money, the same guy who ushered Wayne into the game and owns 50% of Lil Wayne's Young Money label. Birdman tries signing Young Thug and making him the next Lil Wayne virtually. And this is where we start to get a long history of Young Thug really just lying about a lot of what's gone down in his career. And what's ironic is that we only get the truth again through jail calls or police interrogations. We're going to tell the story. You're going to see how there's a bunch of different holes throughout Young Thug's entire career. And then you'll see how, again, the police interrogation and the jail calls kind of bridge the gap between everything we were confused about. Unlike Drake, a bunch of you guys have been telling me you've been Anita Max winning some free cash from playing mobile games. So I want to put all you guys on to something that almost seems too good to be true. All right, let me give you a little glimpse into my life. When I'm not making this content for you guys, I have a disgusting addiction to my phone. My daily screen time is higher than Drake on that album cover, higher than Snoop off the edibles. So if you guys suffer that same addiction as me, I want to put you onto something that's going to change your life. FreeCash.com is a program that partners with mobile games that are looking for more users to play their games, and they will literally pay you to play their games for free. All you got to do is sign up using the QR code you see on the screen or using the link in the description of this video. You make an account super easy. All you got to do is put in your email, create a password, verify your email, and then you're good to go. And they got a bunch of games. My favorite is the Monopoly Go because we're always on the go trying to make some money. Once you make an account, you just click the game you want to play, follow the directions that they give you. The directions are super easy. Usually you just got to download the game and start playing. So it's about time you put that phone addiction to good use. Again, use the QR code you see on the screen or the link in my description. Create an account and you could start making more than $150 just to play a game on your phone. So, according to Young Thug, when he first came in the game, even though he cited Wayne as a huge inspiration and he was rolling with Birdman, who again was a part of the YMCMB collective with Lil Wayne, Young Thug claims that Lil Wayne refused to shake his hand the first time they met.
The first day that goddamn didn't dap me up.
Oh, just left you hanging?
Didn't dap you up? Tried me. Tried my pimping. Damn. I'm like 20. I really be stuck. Goddamn real. Now my motherfucking feet hurt. I'm a real stepper. don't do me like that. I'm tripping.
This is an obvious lie, because there's footage from 2014 where Lil Wayne is completely embracing Young Thug. They made a bunch of club appearances together. They even have a song together from back then called Take Care in 2014. Lil Wayne was on stage with Young Thug in a club in France in 2014, singing Young Thug's song Danny Glover with him word for word.
Turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up, turn up. Hey, what you talking about? Who the told you that Young Thug go the big one? All over Teddy, what? Turn up my lifestyle.
And I'll even do you guys one better. I'll tell you a funny story. I was in Miami in 2019, and a lot of these nightclubs, they promote like that the artist is coming, but they make it seem like the artist is doing an actual show at the club. So Lil Wayne was supposed to be at Club Live. I go, I buy a ticket. I'm thinking I'm going to see a Lil Wayne concert. He pulls up at 3 in the morning, smoking a blunt in his section, not saying a word, not even dancing to the music, of course not performing his own music. But the one song that actually got Lil Wayne to put down his double cup and his blunt, I saw this with my own eyes, was the song Hot by Young Thug and Gunna. The second he heard that beat drop, he started dancing and singing. No other song, aside from that one throughout the entire night, got a reaction from Lil Wayne. This is in 2019, 5 years after the whole tour bus shooting, which we'll get to shortly because we're in 2014 now. Thug is claiming that Lil Wayne refused to ever shake his hand and never embraced him, which would eventually become partially true, but by 2014, I just ran through the examples with you guys. Wayne definitely did embrace him. Now, at the same time, remember I mentioned it was very hard to take Young Thug seriously because not only did he come in the game as a Wayne clone, for a while making it very hard to distinguish who he really was as an artist besides, a knockoff, worse version of Wayne. That'll come into play again shortly, but now as he's slowly developing his own, unique style, he's also kind of confusing the world on who he actually is as a person. On one end, he's cussing out rappers on Instagram, talking about he's the biggest gangster.
Yeah, YSL. Carti 6 coming out Friday, first show. New Orleans, Holly Grove. Meet me there, better yet, beat me there, you did. With them dicks too, nigga.
But then on the other hand, he's wearing dresses and calling his friends hubby and lover and bae. And listen, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. It just seemed very performative. It didn't seem like this was who Young Thug truly was. He seemed like an internet troll.
Trash. You heard I was gay. You going crazy.
So he's almost taking this like Tekashi 6ix9ine Soulja Boy approach where he's acting like a big gangster, but his social media antics are leading you to believe that he'll pretty much do or say anything for clout. And I think this is a big reason why for the first 5 to 10 years of Young Thug's career, he was unable to sell more than 10 to 15,000 copies of any album within the first week because no one really took him seriously. The music was legendary, don't get me wrong. Again, like I said, he ended up becoming one of the most influential rappers of this generation by far. But at the beginning, it was hard to respect him as an actual qualified musician because aside from just knocking off Lil Wayne, he let the clowning and the antics online take precedence over the actual music. But that changed when Birdman linked him up with Rich Homie Quan. Lifestyle, their song together, ended up peaking at 17 on the Billboard charts, which was actually higher than any solo Lil Wayne single from that year. It really seemed like for a brief period of time, Birdman might have really found himself his new Lil Wayne. And the timing couldn't have been better because, of course, about 6 months after Lifestyle dropped and became the smash hit it was, Lil Wayne gets on Twitter and says he wants off of the Cash Money record label, nothing to do with Birdman or anyone associated with him, and that he's a prisoner and so is his creativity. What he's referring to is the fact that he was trying to release his album The Carter 5, and Cash Money kept holding it up and apparently not paying him what he was properly owed. We'd see that laid out more clearly about a month after those Lil Wayne tweets because he would go on to sue Cash Money for $51 million, claiming that he wasn't getting properly compensated over any of the Young Money profits for his own music, Drake's music, Tyga's music, Nicki's music. Now at the same time, Young Thug and Rich Homie Quan, who had this magical partnership together, I say that in the literal sense because Young Thug was calling Rich Homie Quan his hubby. It looks like a divorce was on the way because in 2015, Young Thug would start saying F Rich Homie Quan on stage and Rich Homie Quan was saying Young Thug was gay on stage. Another very confusing aspect of this chapter in Young Thug's career because you and your hubby just did a classic mixtape together, a massive hit single with Lifestyle, and now all of a sudden you're getting a divorce? Of course, Young Thug doesn't really do interviews, so he never fully explained why him and Rich Homie went from lovers to enemies. But this was the beginning of Young Thug heading down a long spiral that a lot of people forget today, because he eventually took on more of an executive role within the Atlanta hip-hop scene, but for a while, like I said before, he was the Tekashi 6ix9ine of 2015. He started beefing Plies, Kevin Gates, The Game.
See, you used to be a Crip, now you're a Blood. So I don't want no smoke with you. You got Bloods and Crips on your team. And you was a male stripper once before, so I don't want to fight you. I don't want no germs from you. And you know I'm in LA more than Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he the governor.
You can't forget his whole beef with Metro Boomin and Future.
So basically, Metro Boomin with the Twitter to basically say, man, hey, the rest of y'all rappers can't be dropping mixtapes back to back to back like Future. Now, Future has been real successful dropping some of these mixtapes. And I guess a lot of people is trying to try out that Future formula and think they just gonna drop mixtape after mixtape and get that same buzz Future got. Today, Young Thug took to Twitter to ask Metro Boomin, yo, bro, who you referring to? You know what I mean? So after that, Thug was basically like, you know what I mean, I'm the hottest in the game. Future, that's Tito, and I'm Michael. And shout out to my big dog Future, man. But it's all good, man. Ain't nothing but love this way, man. But yeah, man, that's basically it, man. Metro Boomin and Young Thug had a good little relationship. They do a lot of work together. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this one plays out.
And again, this all ties back into what we're seeing today in 2025 with these leaked jail calls, because he's one day beefing Future and Metro Boomin on Twitter, but then the next day he's doing collab albums with both of them. Same crap with Ricch Homie Quan. Same thing with Gunna. Then he's on jail calls with 21 Savage talking crap about the Migos, Gucci Mane. Gucci Mane's the guy who brought him in to the game to give him his biggest cosign of all time. It's a lot of flip-flopping back and forth, a lot of fake stuff. But the biggest flip by far Young Thug ever did was what came after Lil Wayne dropping that $50 million lawsuit against Birdman. Remember how I told you, right? Cash Money was holding up Lil Wayne's long-awaited album, The Carter 5. Well, the man who dubbed Wayne his quote-unquote biggest idol, Young Thug, decides to name his debut album, as he's teasing signing to Cash Money, Carter 6. And he claims the reason he's going to call his album Carter 6 is because Lil Wayne hasn't been releasing his album Carter 5.
Hi, I'm Duggar, and the Carter 6 is on the way. The Carter 6 is coming out on the 17th, my mom's birthday.
Again, putting the trolling ahead of the music, because it's like, this is your first album, your first introduction to the mainstream world, and you decide to make it this pseudo-homage / hybrid of disrespect towards your idol, Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne threatens to sue Young Thug for trying to run off with the title of his legendary album series, so Young Thug changes the name to Barter 6. And the day that the Barter 6 releases, Young Thug ironically has a show in Lil Wayne's hometown of New Orleans. Meanwhile, Wayne, on that same night, has a show in Young Thug's hometown of Atlanta. Lil Wayne is on stage telling the audience not to listen to albums that have people posing naked on their album covers, obviously in reference to the fact that Young Thug was naked on the Barter 6.
Also, before I go any further, I want y'all to understand that there's only one mother Carter. You need. I want y'all to do me a favor. If y'all ever have Rich Gang or whoever it is in this, y'all let them know I said. Also, before I go any further, I want y'all to do me a favor and stop listening to songs that post naked on their motherfucking album.
And as he's leaving this nightclub performance, Lil Wayne's tour bus is followed by a random vehicle that ends up shooting at the tour bus multiple times. Young Thug's close associate, Pee Wee Roscoe, ends up getting arrested for the shooting and pleads guilty, getting a 10-year prison sentence plus probation. 5 years later, in 2020, he accepts a new plea, which gets him around 7 years in prison under the Street Gang Terrorism Act. Now, this is important due to new information that we just got as recently as the last couple days. Remember the fact that Pee Wee Roscoe, the man who pleaded guilty to the crime of shooting the tour bus, is Young Thug's close affiliate. And remember all the stuff that was going on between Young Thug and Lil Wayne. And Birdman. It's going to play a very important role in this story shortly. But now, where Young Thug does end up making the right move is the fact that he separates himself from the trolling and the antics and starts to focus on just having a long streak of putting out incredible music. Starting from the Barter 6, which in my opinion is a trap music classic. Then you had some other amazing projects like Jeffrey, Beautiful Thugger Girls, etc. And where Young Thug really made the smart move was not just embracing all of his clones, all the people that sounded like him, but actually trying to sign them and doing multiple features with them. This was the one difference between him and Lil Wayne, which is what I feel kept Young Thug's longevity and dominance within hip-hop going for as long as it did. He worked heavily with Lil Uzi, Playboi Carti, Lil Baby, and of course signed Gunna. All of these artists taking heavy influence from the sound that Young Thug ushered in. So now you have a whole landscape of all of these little Young Thug clones dominating the mainstream, and Young Thug is collaborating with them. So anytime you think of Lil Uzi or Lil Baby or Gunna or whoever, you're thinking of Young Thug. Not only did this end up putting him in the executive position because now he's directly profiting off his offspring Gunna's music, but it also expanded his longevity because all of these Young Thug clones that ended up dominating the Atlanta trap scene for years to come after Young Thug's reign at the top was over, Young Thug was always standing right there next to them. So his name always remained in the conversation. This was something that Lil Wayne unfortunately failed to do. If he embraced Young Thug early on and actually signed Young Thug to Young Money, which Thug had wanted to do since the beginning of his career, Lil Wayne could have expanded the run that Young Money had for years to come and constantly have a close collaborator who took tons of inspiration from him, who was now controlling the youth, aka Young Thug. It's kind of like how Jay-Z signing Kanye West or J. Cole, who kind of expanded and prolonged his legacy. Wayne did the same thing with Drake and Nicki, but it stopped there, and he had the perfect opportunity to capitalize off of the influence that he gave to Young Thug by actually signing him and collaborating with him heavily when he was at his peak and could give Wayne a more youthful sound. But I bring that up to say, now he signed Gunna, right? Gunna was to Young Thug what Young Thug was to Lil Wayne. Gunna, for a short period of time, actually ends up seeing more success than Young Thug had during his peak. Gunna's album DS4 in 2022 beat out the Weeknd's album on the Billboard charts that week, selling over 150,000 copies first week, which was higher than Young Thug ever did with any of his albums. That'll play an important role in the story very shortly. Young Thug and Gunna end up getting locked up on the RICO charge against YSL. Gunna gets out early because he takes a plea deal. And again, we're not going to get into all the street stuff, but it's just important to recognize that Gunna took an Alford plea, which means that nothing he said when he pleaded guilty to his charges could be used against any of his other co-defendants, aka Young Thug or anyone else who was tied into this RICO trial during their trial. So anything Gunna had said couldn't be used against Young Thug. Whether you want to call this snitching or not, because obviously this is what ended up having Young Thug turn on Gunna, claiming he was a snitch, Gunna took a plea deal that specifically was tied to the charges faced against him. The same way in 2015, how Young Thug's associate Pee Wee Roscoe had taken a plea deal in relation to the charges about shooting Wayne's tour bus. I could be wrong, but to me this seems like a bit of hypocrisy, right? You're good with one of your boys taking a plea deal for their charge, but the other one taking a plea deal, suddenly now you hate him and you want to boycott him from the music industry? Well, luckily for Gunna, this didn't work. Gunna came out of prison, dropped a top 5 hit with F You Mean, and his album that year was a massive success. So much so to the point that Young Thug wanted to sabotage it by dropping his own album on the same day as Gunna's to take the attention away from Gunna's music, even though Young Thug owned Gunna's music. Young Thug outsold Gunna by about 4,000 copies with both their projects, but it was obvious that Gunna went on to do much bigger things, right? He's had hit after hit every year since he got released from prison. We haven't seen a Young Thug hit in almost 5 years at this point. And Young Thug had everybody on that project, from Travis Scott, 21 Savage, 2 Drake features, Future, Lil Baby, and a lot more. He even tried to get Kendrick Lamar on that project, but Kendrick declined, and that's what got Young Thug to talk a bunch of crap about him on a jail call. We'll touch on that shortly. Because ultimately, this is when Young Thug took the best move he made in his career and turned it into possibly the worst. Because at the beginning, while he didn't walk in his idol's footsteps and instead decided to embrace the next generation who took heavy inspiration from him, Young Thug was now trying to destroy the same artists that he once helped build up. And jealousy is a hell of a drug. Young Thug went from looking like the underdog who was fighting for his life to beat this case all odds stacked against him, to now trying to destroy the man who, at this point, was making better music than Young Thug. And it only got weirder when Young Thug came out of jail. Remember how I said before, like, Young Thug, you never truly understood who he was, the type of person he was. He didn't do interviews. He trolled a lot. One minute you're his hubby, the next minute he's hating on you. It was confusing and annoying, to say the least. And when he came out of jail, all eyes were on him to make the most monstrous comeback we have ever seen. Because it seemed like on the outside he had embraced everyone from Atlanta who came up before him or after him, from Migos, Gucci, 21, Future, Gunna, Lil Baby, the list goes on. He had everybody by his side, and his sound was everywhere. Plus, you just came out of jail. All eyes are on you right now to absolutely dominate the game. Gunna had nobody. Even the producers boycotted him, right? You haven't seen him do a song with Southside, Metro Boomin, Weezy, whoever, since he got released from prison. They were all there for Young Thug. And what does Young Thug do? Well, everything but release music. I mean, we've gotten the occasional song or verse, nothing that has been anything up to par with what he dropped before coming out of jail. He did a mysterious interview where he's wearing a mask, doesn't discuss anything that he's been through, anything the world is curious about. I mean, you just went through like a 3-year prison stint fighting a RICO case, and you really have nothing to say in your music about this? No first day out track, no nothing? No, instead, he was more focused on who was a rat and who wasn't. He was tweeting out that Kid Cudi was a rat because he testified in the Diddy trial. He kept on dissing Gunna, but all throughout this, no good music to make up for the antics. And things all came crashing down in August of 2025, where ironically, Young Thug answers most of the unanswered questions we've had throughout his career in none other than not an interview, not a song, but a police interrogation. Again, I'm not going to get into the street stuff, right? But any question you might have had about what happened between Lil Wayne falling out with Birdman, why Young Thug claims Lil Wayne never shook his hand even though they had songs together, what Young Thug's involvement was with the whole Lil Wayne tour bus shooting, it all gets discussed as Young Thug is called in to a police interrogation room. So as far as his issues with Lil Wayne, because again, this is all related to the police questioning Young Thug on what his involvement might have been in that tour bus shooting. So ultimately Thug says, like we already knew, he really looked up to Wayne. He copied his style growing up. He still listens to him, and that he wanted to be like him very badly. This interrogation took place in the late summer of 2015, and Wayne had already done an interview in around July 2015 where he said that him and Young Thug don't have beef. He realized Young Thug was a fan, and so everything was all good. The Barter 6 was simply Young Thug paying homage to Wayne, which is very different from what Wayne was saying months before that. But again, this whole thing is confusing. So Young Thug mentions how Lil Wayne and him don't have beef, and that Wayne apologized for comments that he made about Thug. But Thug says he believes Wayne was still, quote unquote, trying to be funny. As in, like, you know, he was kind of being sarcastic, calling Young Thug a fan or saying that they don't have beef. He then goes on to say that through his time with Birdman, he would ask him constantly to bring Lil Wayne in to record music with Thug. But he felt like Lil Wayne was kind of acting weird with Birdman. He would ignore him in the studio and at clubs. Sometimes he would dap up Young Thug but not Birdman. Other times it was vice versa. He would dap up Birdman but not Young Thug. Things were kind of strange. And again, this is around like the summer of 2014 when Thug is rolling with Birdman, but Wayne is also still rolling with Birdman before he tweets out the whole, you know, I want off cash money. And Young Thug points to the fact that things were kind of weird, but he was constantly trying to attempt to collaborate with Lil Wayne. Now, keep in mind, again, he's telling the police this in 2015, but by 2019, he's telling people like Big Boy and Gilly and Wallow on these podcasts that Lil Wayne never embraced him. He never dapped them up. But here he's telling the police that they were in the same studios and clubs together constantly, and Wayne was just kind of acting weird with Birdman. He then tells the police that he named his project the Carter 6 because Wayne had said the Carter 5 would be his last. He claims he never dissed Lil Wayne and that he often shouts him out in interviews and songs, but he describes Lil Wayne as spoiled and very quick to switch. He doesn't like long conversations, and sometimes he reacts impulsively and then rethinks it later. This is what's interesting though. He says that ultimately he didn't understand why Lil Wayne didn't like Birdman, and Birdman would tell Young Thug that it was because Birdman refused to release the Carter 5 because it had no hits on it. If you guys remember at the time, Lil Wayne had put out like 5 singles, Believe Me with Drake, Grinding with Drake, Start a Fire with Christina Milian, and a couple more. None of them failed to really leave a real impact. So Birdman is telling Young Thug, yeah, I'm not putting out this Carter 5 project and Wayne is mad, but I'm not putting it out because as an executive, it doesn't make sense for me to release my artist album when they have no hits. So what Thug does, which I find crazy, is he offers to give Lil Wayne his hit song Lifestyle before it was released. And imagine Lil Wayne on that song, right? Like, that'd be pretty fire. But Lil Wayne ultimately rejects it, at least according to what Young Thug told the police, because Wayne apparently said he didn't want anyone writing for him. Young Thug then tells the police he later realized that Wayne's issue with Birdman wasn't about the Carter 5 not coming out, it was that Birdman was not properly paying Lil Wayne. And Thug says that from that point on, he wanted nothing to do with Birdman. This is where Young Thug is caught in another lie. Because if you look at the timeline, Young Thug says that he realized that Wayne's real issue with Birdman was that he was not getting paid when he listened to Wayne's song Coco, where he raps, I don't want no problems, I just want my money. That song came out in January of 2015. Young Thug was still riding with Birdman, even though he's telling the police now it was after this moment that he said F Birdman, and he still went on to release the Barter 6 even though Wayne threatened to sue him.
You don't give a shout out to like Birdman or...
I shouted out Birdman. I shouted out a lot of people. I shouted out Lil Wayne before. Still, hell, I put a video the other day and shouted him out. I guess he seen that and then he just finally just put it in his head like, okay, this little boy don't hate me. They probably think I hate him. I'm like, bro, I wouldn't want to die with you, nigga. I don't do music with this fool. And Bird didn't make it no better. And damn. Bird, man.
I can't believe you're saying that, man.
What, Bird?
Yeah.
And I almost signed, then he like to pay him, like, bro.
Ultimately, Thug says that the night that Wayne's tour bus got shot up, he was performing in New Orleans while Wayne was in Atlanta, and he doesn't know who did it, but ultimately says that Pee Wee Roscoe was Lil Wayne's friend and even dealt Lil Wayne weed. You see why this is fried, right? Like, he's calling out Gunna for being a rat, but this is what he's telling the police. Now, with Birdman, Young Thug says that Birdman was a big homie to him and Lil Wayne, but that Young Thug would choose Lil Wayne over Birdman. Thug says that Birdman pushed Young Thug's movement, which ended up aggravating Lil Wayne, and even says that he nearly signed to Birdman for about $2 million, but it didn't end up happening. He then says he cut off Birdman once he found out Lil Wayne was owed money from Birdman. Birdman kept texting Thug, "I love you," daily for months, but Thug just stopped responding. This is also complete cap because they were pictured together for years after this whole interrogation happened. Now, it is important to note, right? Obviously, if Young Thug thinks that the feds are trying to link him and Birdman to this case, where Pee Wee Roscoe shot up Lil Wayne's tour bus, he's going to make it seem like Pee Wee Roscoe was friends with Lil Wayne and that Thug and Birdman don't speak anymore, so that the cops could logically think, okay, Thug couldn't have been involved in this because he doesn't even talk to Birdman like that. If you guys didn't know, there were phone conversations that leaked of Birdman talking to Pee Wee Roscoe from jail after he got arrested for shooting Lil Wayne's tour bus.
Time for you to come out here and get this money, nephew. Your money, you done blessed. You done did everything you could do, bro. It's an eye opener, bro. You know what I'm saying? While you're on that strictly business, man.
Thug is trying to disassociate himself from the entire situation. But do you see the snakiness, the lying, the deceiving throughout the entire thing? He's saying he would ride or die for Lil Wayne, but in reality, he's beefing Wayne online and releasing albums that Wayne is threatening to sue him over. And he's saying that he doesn't talk to Birdman, but he's spotted with Birdman everywhere. The whole thing is weird, confusing, and again, it just kind of all leads to Young Thug being a snake. For many reasons. A, Birdman was the one who gave him the major cosign and put the marketing budget towards making Young Thug a star early on. But here Young Thug is saying that he switched up and started ghosting Birdman and was telling the police, "Thank God I never signed to him." Then second, he's claiming Wayne is his idol, but he's publicly disrespecting Wayne all the time online, clearly not giving him the respect that he deserved as a legend and a massive inspiration to Thug. And then C, the most important reason, is that he was talking all this crap trying to destroy Gunna's career, calling him a rat, when this entire time, this interrogation footage existed of Young Thug telling all this information to the police. Well, there must have been someone looking out for Gunna, because just a day after this interrogation video leaked online, a slew of jail phone calls Young Thug had when he was locked up during this RICO trial also leaked online, where he's talking to his girlfriend Mariah the Scientist, some of his managers or people that work on his team, and 21 Savage. And this is where you really see the inner workings of all the effort Young Thug made to try and completely sabotage Gunna's career, while also talking a lot of crap about all of his peers in the meanwhile. On a side note, I also kind of find it crazy that this entire time Drake was still riding with Young Thug, even though he had all these issues with Lil Wayne, publicly disrespected him, etc. But anyways, let's touch on some of the most insane moments from these leaked jail calls, the alleged leaked jail calls. And we'll look at everything Young Thug had to say about Kendrick Lamar as well. So, one of the first guys that Young Thug is talking crap about is the co-founder of the record label QC. QC put on the Migos, Lil Yachty, Lil Baby, and more. They're like the Cash Money of Atlanta, and Young Thug has worked with a lot of their artists. But P from QC, he's allegedly a rat too. Everyone's a rat, I guess. And Gunna, when he first came out and he made a song called Bread and Butter, where he was, kind of explaining his whole situation, he had a bar for Lil Baby when he said, "You're dissing on me, but you're in business with a rat." The rat he's referring to is P from QC. So Young Thug behind bars also says that P is a rat and he doesn't understand why Lil Baby is still working with him.
He did the same thing P did. Stood up in court. Man, that was Wham, that was your ever get too, rocking with the motherfucking rat. And you be preaching about that too, man. You can't do that, man. You dead wrong about that anyway. Me a rat, bro. I understand all that. Help put you on. Listen, man. That nigga's a rat. I don't give a what help. That nigga give me $1 million. Man, you're a rat. Whatever you talking about. You got somebody sent the chain gang. Imagine telling them and then still beat the Kato.
Now, this is on a phone call with 21 Savage, and 21 is kind of the voice of reason here. He's telling Young Thug, look, it doesn't make sense that Lil Baby and Lil Durk jumped the gun dissing Gunna when he first came out of jail because you didn't say anything first. It should have been you saying something before we all stood by you and just started dissing Gunna before you even did.
I ain't finna say nothing about you on the internet. I ain't finna let the world know I ain't with you until just say so.
But
that's what they supposed to did. Like,
but ain't nobody
nigga trying to go at him to get clout. Yes, they have. Dirt
said something to him, but that's it. Like, Wham, them niggas ain't doing all this shit. Like,
Wham unfollowed him.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just that little boy shit. That ain't really saying that to them.
Yeah,
that's just like, damn, I'm disappointed. Right?
Yeah, but that's still
But guess what, though, that
what
makes
your
you,
position is, right?
But
I ain't saying they wrong. I'm just saying
yeah, they jumped the gun. But
niggas
look,
supposed to have a conversation with you before they do anything. That's
yeah,
just
but
how I look at it.
Wham did though. I talked to Wham. So we get on the phone. Hey, you told Bada them do that? I'm like, hell no. He's like, all right, stay lit. Same shit. I'm smart. Off top. Soon it happened.
21 then goes on to say that Young Thug holds Gunna's career in his hands at this point. If Young Thug came out and said Gunna did nothing wrong, he's not a snitch, people would move on. But what 21 didn't realize is that people don't care, really, you know, if he was a rat in this case or not. They just want good music. But Thug says, I can't go out and say Gunna did nothing wrong because Lil Baby, Lil Durk, everyone's already dissed Gunna. So how would that make them look if I come out now and say, nah, you guys should still mess with him. Don't listen to Lil Baby and them. Gunna did nothing wrong. And 21 emphasizes like, yeah, but they jumped the gun. And he's completely right.
Man, you on Jeffrey Williams in the car. It was a gun and drugs in the car. Was it yours?
He probably said that though, bro.
100%, but you.
That's the only part I don't agree with. I disagree with you on. The other shit, he dead ass wrong. But that, like, nigga, it wasn't yours neither. It was the who took the charge shit.
Yeah.
Cause I don't, in my heart, but I don't feel like Childish did what he did with the intention of hurting you. You feel what I'm saying? I don't really get that vibe from him. I feel like he just green. That's just my opinion.
I just look at it. God damn sure was thinking about that one day. Like, man, I'm just gonna goddamn. I ain't finna say nothing about this shit. I'm just woo. I might just be like, man, them folks did what they had to do. I don't feel like that was wrong. I swear to God, I was thinking about doing that before, but I'm like, what the hell? That's gonna change. Because I feel like it's really over with for your rap career. The album you put out might go #1, but that's it after that. You know what I'm saying? It's like on some real shit now.
You got to you hold his career in your hand, bro. That's what I'm telling you. If you come out right now and tell the world what he did went wrong, because them folks already on the internet like, man, God, that we rocking with them. Ever since he dropped that song, they like, man, we rocking with him. If you come out and tell the world that you was in agreement with that shit, his career ain't over. That's why I said, like,
I understand that part, but now think about niggas like you, Wham, Dirt, Pluto, who I really with, who like my brothers who already done like cut ties. Imagine niggas that y'all already done cut ties with a nigga, and then I come and be on the side after they did what wrong. They can call me.
Yeah,
but
but
you know what I'm saying? It's just like I'm slapping y'all.
No, it ain't. Cause niggas need to stop jumping the gun. I don't know, bro. It's like
how you call that jumping the gun though?
Cause at the end of the day, saying fucking nigga, what that's really finna get a nigga for real.
Then Young Thug goes on to talk crap about his right-hand producer, Weezy Outta Here, who also worked with Gunna, and who I believe posted that he was happy that Gunna came out of jail, but then quickly deleted it because he's like, all right, I'm riding with Young Thug. And Young Thug chalks it up to him being basically stupid. That's what he tells his girlfriend, Mariah the Scientist.
The people that, is going over their heads, they done linked him. Like, everybody else. Elliot, Weezy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's gonna go over here. He's so damn hard and stupid.
But you see all the snake stuff going on, right? Like, this is Young Thug's right-hand guy, but meanwhile, behind his back, he's calling him an idiot. And he keeps on talking crap about more of his longtime collaborators, like the Migos, because he references how P from QC had sold QC over to Scooter Braun. But Scooter Braun was allegedly, according to Young Thug in these alleged phone calls, talking to Lil Baby first about just buying his catalog. Lil Baby at the time is the biggest superstar off of QC. So Scooter wants to just buy Lil Baby and his catalog, but Lil Baby tells Scooter Braun, let me talk to my label owner P before I make any moves. Then P has a meeting with Scooter and ends up just selling the entire catalog, obviously screwing Lil Baby out of the deal. So Young Thug here says Lil Baby is the only profitable artist off of QC, and the Migos have QC in the red, aka their music is actually losing the label money.
The people only buying your label because of Wham. They not buying your label because no motherfucking Migos. Them in the red. They ain't making no money, huh?
Then Young Thug goes on to beg 21 for a verse because he wants to drop an album the same day as Gunna's and basically just screw his whole album rollout out. And obviously this didn't work, right? Gunna's album went on to be far more successful than Young Thug's. But Young Thug, again, had every feature in the world off this freaking album, including 2 features from 21.
Man, bro, I'm trying to drop an album the same day Gunna drop, bro. You need to, y'all sent you a song, put a verse on it.
When he supposed to drop? Man, that nigga ain't finna drop.
He dropped Friday, nigga. You think I ain't gonna know he signed me?
He dropped Friday for sure?
Man, 100% Friday. I can hold his back if I want to. If my album don't be ready, I can hold it back. But Drake already sent the song called, the name of my album, I'm gonna drop my album on the same day he dropped, and it's called Business is Business. Then I'm gonna drop an album the very next week after that. It's gonna be a singing album, and it's called Love You Later. When you gonna go to the Yo and do it for me, bro?
Yeah. You good though?
Most definitely. I'm really trying to the whole shit up.
Thug goes on to say to his girlfriend that he doesn't hate anyone in the world except for Gunna, and that he wants to put his album out right on the same day as Gunna to torment him.
Kind of like really, really hate Buddy.
Yeah.
I literally don't hate nobody in the entire world but him. I literally hate him. I swear to God, I hate him. But business, business is business, And I feel like I would let him have a whole month to himself, but I don't want to put it out. I don't want to be putting it out too long after him, so it'll look like, oh, both of them just dropped the album. I feel like I wanted to be like, he posts his cover like, my album come Friday, and then I post the cover, my album come Friday. I wanted to just be like straight Kanye West tormenting them, like straight like, oh wow, Thug really dropping an album on the same day this nigga dropping this, like he on bullshit. I'm on demon time. I'm not with none of that.
We're on godly time.
Then things get crazy. So Young Thug is talking about how Gunna was actually looking to sign with The Weeknd's XO album behind Young Thug's back. And Young Thug says, you're not a superstar. You were asking for $20 million from XO. You weren't going to get that. That #1 album you had, I paid for that. I paid for bots, for fake streams to boost your album sales. Because if you guys didn't know, back in 2022, Gunna dropped an album the same day as The Weeknd. Both of them were fighting for the #1 spot. And Gunna ended up beating out The Weeknd with about 150,000 copies sold in the first week. Young Thug, who had signed Gunna, claims to Mariah the Scientist on this jail phone call, allegedly, that he paid $50,000 for fake streams in order for Gunna to get that #1 album.
When he did his 2-album deal with me, Cash called me one day like, hey, what the hell going on with Gunna? Who's speaking for him? I'm like, wow. He trying to get signed right here with Weeknd signed it. He demanded he want, $20 million. So I already done told him, like, whatever you want, just say it. I'm going to give you the money, whatever you want. I know you can't go nowhere in this world and get no $20 million check from no label. You're not doing numbers like that. The #1 album you just had right now, I paid for you to have a #1 album. You didn't, honestly earn a #1 album over the weekend, my boy. I paid for that. I never said that to him. I never told him that, cause we just got the plug on that. Like, you never earned a #1 album. I spent $50 extra grand buying my stream, $50,000 buying streams for you. And Cash know the same plug, so Cash could have did the same thing. But Cash let it go. Cash just snap down, like, man, let it on the way, and I ain't standing. Snap down.
And it gets crazier because, again, remember, Young Thug is locked up and he's releasing his Business is Business album, trying to compete and steal the hype away from Gunna to, quote-unquote, torment him. Gunna's album ends up crushing the sales, and Young Thug is looking like his album might hit only #2 on the charts and not #1. Morgan Wallen might get that #1 spot instead of him. So Young Thug tells his manager or whoever he's on the phone with at the time that they need that same plug that they used to use, the one that they did with Gunna, to boost up the numbers so that Young Thug can get that #1 spot.
And even if Uzi moves, we still have to deal with Morgan Wallen because he's doing 100,000 every week, no matter what.
Who?
Morgan Wallen, the country guy.
Yeah, what the f*** is this nigga doing? Why the f*** didn't we think to put him on the album? Like, what the f***?
I mean,
you think we're gonna beat the boy?
I'm not going to sleep until we beat him. So whatever happens. So it's like, okay.
Beat the boy, then tell the boy you can't beat me, join me. Get on this song, young boy. Yeah, let's try to beat that. You still got that plug, right? That's what we did with none of them. You still got that plug?
Yeah.
Tell you. All right, my boy.
Yeah. All right, I love you. Call me an hour.
So you can see here, Young Thug is openly admitting, if these phone calls are real, that he has a plug for fake streams. He pays money to get fake streams on his projects to inflate the numbers, and he does the same thing for his artist Gunna. This is absolutely insane because we've never heard an artist openly reveal that they pay for fake streams, right? And if you look at Young Thug's sales metrics from 2015 when he dropped the Barter 6 all the way up until around 2017 when he was releasing other albums like Beautiful Thugger Girls, he was never able to crack anything more than around 30 to 35K in the first week, which is pretty low considering he was one of the hottest rappers out of Atlanta. But by 2019, things started changing a little bit. His next album, So Much Fun, in 2019, sold around 130,000 copies in the first week. A huge jump up from the 30,000 he sold back in 2017, right? All of a sudden, Young Thug was able to sell a lot of numbers without necessarily having tons of more hype. Like I mentioned before, he did sign Gunna, he did co-sign Lil Baby and Lil Uzi and do a bunch of music with Future. So having all these other rappers next to him who were running Atlanta with a heavy influence from Young Thug's sound, Young Thug was able to extend and grow his longevity because he was right next to them. So you could say he started selling more albums because he was now viewed as this, big figure within Atlanta hip hop. But now he's openly admitting on calls that they pay for streams. So how you really explain the jump from 30,000 in the first week to 130,000? It's likely that this whole time, Young Thug was just using bots. And he admits to this all on a jail call when he's desperate to get that #1 spot so that he can crush his own artist, Gunna. He then goes on to talk crap about Gucci Mane, saying that when Gucci came out of jail, he turned soft.
To be signed to Gucci. P used to be signed to Gucci Mane. When Gucci Mane found out that shit, he dropped it. Because P used to try to rap.
Well, they still friends, so how's that?
Yeah. Guap ended up going to jail. I gave it, got him turned soft.
Now, all this stuff is ridiculous, right? Young Thug talking crap about the very people that he was collaborating with when he was out of jail. Young Thug doing all that he could, pushing the bots out to try and block Gunna from getting that #1 spot. Revealing all of this in jail calls and police interrogation footage. But probably the most insane thing that Young Thug said on these jail calls is when he started talking about Kendrick. So remember, right, Young Thug is trying to put out this album, Business is Business, on the same day that Gunna releases his project when he gets out of jail to try and stomp and torment on Gunna's entire release. So he's calling in all the favors, right? He's begging 21 for a verse. He has Drake on that album 2 times, Future, Lil Uzi, Travis Scott, etc. Now, he had actually also sent a couple songs over to Kendrick Lamar. When he's on a phone call with whoever this is, a manager, someone who works on Young Thug's team, the guy says that the song that Kendrick liked the most was called With the Racks, which also features 21 Savage, Yak Gotti, and Travis. And this guy on Young Thug's team is saying that Kendrick came back to them saying that he was wondering if there was going to be tons of features on this album, because I guess he didn't really want to do it if, it was him amongst like 20 other rappers. And if you guys look at this track list, there are tons of rappers here. Again, Young Thug was calling in all the cards to try and get this album to be hyped up. All in all, it was very mediocre, and it makes sense. Kendrick has said multiple times in the past that he only does records with people when the music moves him, and it can make sense that this did not, right? It sounds very rushed, very formulaic. It sounds like some old Young Thug music that he just slapped onto a project to try and rush and steal the hype from Gunna. But initially, they're talking on the phone, and they say they sent the songs over to Kendrick, and he liked that one song, With the Racks.
The songs for Kendrick. I sent the songs for Kendrick to Anthony, and he said he liked With the Racks the most.
He said he like it or Kendrick like it?
Bruh. He said Dot liked With the Racks the most. Like the timing that I sent him for him, he said he was going to play it for him within the hour. Then he called me. He's like, yo, he likes the last one the most, which is With the Racks. And he was like, he just wanted to make sure, like, it's not going to be, like, mad people on every song.
So you can see here, right? Kendrick just wanted to make sure there wasn't going to be mad guys on every single song off this project. Because, again, there was 3 features on the song that stood out to him, With the Racks. And you also have to remember, this is at a time when Kendrick's not really doing many features, right? Like, from 2020 up until 2024, we barely heard of Kendrick besides Mr. Morale and the occasional feature on a Beyonce record or a Baby Keem record. He keeps it very limited, and that's strategic because you don't just want to hop on every song. You want to make your features a moment. Plus, you want the music to be good. So they're discussing, and Young Thug says, like, can we pay Kendrick into getting this feature? And his team member says, nah, Kendrick doesn't really do that. Plus, he only really does features for Baby Keem, who's his cousin.
With the Racks, with Kendrick. Future grocery bag. Say again?
I hope he do it.
So do I. I mean, well, even if you don't get...
He don't take no money, do he?
No. He wouldn't do that. But think about it. He does so few verses. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not just doing verses. Like,
right. But
the only other person that gets a Kendrick verse is Baby Keem, and that's his cousin or his nephew or something.
Right.
And this is what prompts Young Thug to go on a whole rant against Kendrick and the way he operates. Essentially saying that, you know, when superstars call you, like himself or Lil Baby or whoever, he should pick up and do the feature. He should never be bigger than the program. He should never feel like his music is too big to collaborate with other rappers. And he says that that's why Kendrick will never go on to be as big as Drake.
Getting all the damn verses to this man. What the heck you doing, crazy? All that fake, I ain't getting no rapper song shit. I don't be liking them type nigga like that.
Why?
You nigga get too big. I don't want to do no feature. Why? Why you don't want to do no feature? Why wouldn't you want to do a feature for a superstar? Like you ain't like goddamn Strict calling you for a song. You know, like
right.
You really got Lil Dirt calling you for a song. Lil Baby, Dogg, real superstar calling you for a song. Why wouldn't you do the song? We lit, nigga. We going #1 too. What you thinking? You know, it's just like, I don't be understanding that type of shit. Supposed to be a nigga who blessing it. That's why them niggas will never be bigger than Drake, ever in life.
Keep in mind, this is around 2023, right? What's ironic is that Kendrick, just a couple months later, would hop on another Atlanta rapper's song, like that with Future and Metro Boomin, which would kick off the entire battle that would show that he could easily be bigger than Drake. And it's not like Kendrick has been reluctant to collaborate with any artist in the past. Kendrick has done multiple collaborations. The only difference is his catalog of features that he does spans far and wide, anyone from a Drake to any other rapper. He collaborates with everyone from R&B singers like Miguel, The Weeknd, Mary J. Blige, Chris Brown, and more, or alternative bands like Tame Impala. He collaborates with rock bands like Imagine Dragons, pop artists like Anderson .Paak, if you want to call him pop. He's done features with smaller rappers like Ricch the Kid before Ricch the Kid had any massive hits. He's done features with other Atlanta rappers like Future multiple times. He's done features with a bunch of West Coast artists like Nipsey Hussle, Glasses Malone. I don't need to prove this to you guys. You can go look up his catalog, right? He does features quite often when he is active, but he does music that moves him. It makes sense that he's not jumping on a throwaway song. And I think that's what makes him more powerful than Drake, in that when Drake collaborates with someone, it's usually a mutually beneficial setup. Like, yeah, Drake gives a bigger look to a smaller artist, but he also is able to inherit that sound, that street cred, that lingo that comes with the rappers he's collaborating with. That's why Kendrick said the whole, you know, you run to Atlanta when you need a check balance. And maybe he knew this the entire time. He knew about these Young Thug jail calls when he was talking about Kendrick wouldn't be as big as Drake because he doesn't collaborate with the smaller guys within Atlanta. Because after this beef, he would go on to collaborate with Playboi Carti multiple times. Again, the song with Future is the thing that kicked this whole beef off. And he has that whole verse in Not Like Us where he lists off all these Atlanta rappers who Drake has taken something from. Ultimately, Kendrick Lamar does collaborations to move culture. Drake does collaborations to move himself into the culture. You've seen him do that in dancehall, in UK rap, in Atlanta rap, whatever the case is. He continues ranting about Kendrick, saying that he'll never be as big as Drake because Drake puts everyone on, which in a sense, I understand what he's saying in that Drake does hop on a lot of younger artists' tracks, but ultimately there's a bigger purpose there, right? He gains something from that as well. And then he says that Kendrick's collaborations with Baby Keem haven't really done anything, which is absolute complete buffoonery because Family Ties has over 1 billion streams on Spotify. I think that's higher than nearly Young Thug's entire catalog. Like, that one song has more streams than the entire Business is Business album that Young Thug wanted Kendrick on to try and stomp on Gunna's release.
They'll be bigger than Bada. Bada gonna do it right. Bada with everybody. You know how many niggas like Drake chain? How many niggas can take care of their family because of Bada? Just like straight with Kendrick goddamn put it on. You're a superstar. You don't ran up you a few hundred M, but you ain't put nobody on though. You see what I'm saying? You ain't even put Keem on. Cause the shit on him doing this ain't really doing that.
And this just gets more and more ridiculous, right? He starts crapping on Baby Keem, saying that Kendrick hasn't done anything to actually help Baby Keem elevate his career, saying that Baby Keem can't sell out a tour. Meanwhile, I saw Baby Keem live in front of like 10,000 people. He had the crowd going crazy. This is absolute cap. Then he's saying that Kendrick Lamar should be collaborating with Young Thug, Moneybagg Yo, Lil Durk, because that could get him lit for people outside of hip-hop, the real street guys and the real lit women, and that Kendrick does albums where he doesn't even put anybody on them. But can you name me one Kendrick album that doesn't have features? I mean, even on the last one before this jail call, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, he had Kodak Black all over that thing, right? I'd argue Kodak is a much bigger rapper than a Moneybagg Yo or a Lil Durk.
Put somebody on. It's okay to run you a few hundred M's up, but who you help though? He ain't really help nobody. It's the saying. You did all that shit for nothing. You ain't help nobody, nigga. Nigga really gaining no fans off of you. King ain't big. King love hell, man. Can't sell no ticket. Watch out. Like, man, watch out. I truly believe you do a song on me, Wham, Dirt, Money Bad, Savage. I truly believe we'll have your ass dope, trending, like, cause it's gonna be like people in the real world fucking with you, not the goddamn, not the rap world. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be real players and cool lit bitches and players and shit like that fucking with you. Them type of people ain't fucking with you. You gonna get like the real streets and the real people fucking with you. You gonna get the East Coast fucking East Coast ain't fucking with you, bro. You really trying to keep all the blessings to yourself. You really trying to keep everything to yourself. You really sit in the studio and work on the album and don't put nobody on the album. Like, God damn, bro, you ain't gonna put with nobody. You ain't gonna bless nobody. Bullshit king, like, but it's like, what the hell is you doing?
Oh man, it just gets worse. He starts talking about how Kendrick Lamar should be posting on Instagram more. He should be calling up 21 Savage and Moneybagg Yo to hop on his album, Lil Baby to be on his album. He doesn't post anything. He's too mysterious. He's got to get on Instagram more. What the hell would that do? You want duck selfies and lipstick, nail polish, and all this Bobby Altov crap that Drake is doing? You want Kendrick to be doing that? That's what's going to make him lit? For the lit women and the street guys that you're talking about, that's what's going to get their approval?
You probably with me, Wham, Dirt. Savage, you probably with us. You probably calling us like, hey man, I want y'all young niggas on my album. I'm on some player shit this time around. I'm on some player shit. Like, come on man, god damn. I don't know though. These niggas be crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully he do the song though. If he don't, I ain't really giving no damn.
We'll still be good.
Yeah, over good. Continue being rap, man. You know what I'm saying? Continue being rap, man. Stay supportive.
Yeah.
Put my album cover or something, man. Stay supportive, man. All that. I ain't posting no pictures, 6 years shit, man. Watch out. Nigga don't care about all that shit, man. Nobody don't give no about none of that. I guarantee you, your first post you post, that motherfucker gonna do 1 million or 2 million likes. You can get out in the next 16 years. You not finna get on here and get no 100 million likes on your post. You're not Kim Kardashian, man. So whatever you call yourself doing with your internet, and if you just want to prove like, oh, I won't be on the internet, what is that proving? What they do? What they do? Instagram is meant for pictures, man. Post your picture, bro. Or just delete your Instagram. I think it's the rarity though, but man, have fun with that.
Oh man, all of this is absolutely insane, and it honestly just speaks to the fact that this entire time, as much as I've loved Young Thug's music, the entire confusing aesthetic that he's given the world throughout his entire career is probably really based off the fact that he stands for nothing, right? Ultimately, what do you stand for? You stand for not being a rat, but you're in police interrogation rooms. You stand for, Lil Wayne being your idol, that you'd rather collaborate with him over Michael Jackson. But meanwhile, you're disrespecting his legacy and dissing him on social media as you come into the game. You stand for being Ricch Gang. You stand for being down with Birdman. Meanwhile, you're telling the police, F Birdman, I don't answer his calls anymore. You want Kendrick on your album, but then you go on a 4-minute rant talking about how he's not lit enough and he'll never be as big as Drake. You go from dissing Future and Metro Boomin to calling them your brothers and collaborating with them constantly. Same thing with Weezy. Gucci Mane, who put you on, is still doing business with P from QC, so you call him soft. Meanwhile, you're still doing business with P from QC. You collaborated with Lil Baby multiple times. You've collaborated with the Migos, but somehow now you're saying they're losing their label money when you're out here buying $50,000 worth of fake streams for Gunna's album and you can't hit #1 on the charts, so you're trying to buy more streams for your album. You're calling everyone your hubby and then you're dissing them the next day. You don't give a single interview throughout your entire career to clear up any of these things for your fans, but you're spilling all the industry secrets, gossiping about every rapper, talking crap about them to police and your girlfriend behind bars on recorded jail phone conversations, allegedly. You're saying Kendrick needs a feature from you to get lit. Meanwhile, you come out of prison and you haven't put out a chart-topping hit since you got out, and instead focused more on hating on rats than making actual good music. What does Young Thug need to do at this point to turn things around? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next one.